Is rising. Only 2 cars left in the pit lane before we have a full grid. Take a look up to the lights, then we'll see the countdown coming on. It's going to count down. 5 seconds. Season 3, race 1 is under starters orders. Lights down. EERC is go, go, go. It's a good start from Richard. The captain tries to keep the inside line down towards Pelham. And looking like Will. Going to go right round the outside. In towards Cox Corner. A spectacular move. Oh, big crest. And that's really horses. Into the bollard then. But Hamilton swings it round the outside line and goes back to the front as well. Oh, no. And the starter after chaos into the field. Cars left, right and centre. And it takes second position as well. But Harvey's been run on round 2. And it's almost as Thomas. It was just utter chaos.
Just chaos. Hello, guten Abend, and welcome to Nuremberg Ring for round 5 of season 5 of the EERC British Touring Car Championship. This time we go overseas to Germany for our 5th round of the season. 3 races in store, and the championship, unfortunately, in terms of from a competitive standpoint, very much being dominated at the moment by Ballast Kiss, with his closest competitor, Tim Neuendorf, sadly not present here. We have got Peter Neuendorf, his father, here, but no sign of Tim as of yet as qualifying begins. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me in the commentary box is Ryan Ferris, with Nick Homewood also here as well, waiting to drive that safety car in case it's needed. You can just sit at the end of the pit lane there. And, of course, Pascal Eggert on broadcast direction. So, as the cars are released, Ryan, we have a very, very short street circuit here. It's definitely very different to everything we've seen so far on the calendar, not just because it's situated in Germany, but in terms of characteristics, this is a very, very unique circuit, of course, named the Norisring, so that it's not confused with the Nuremberg Ring, which, of course, is the much longer circuit in the Eifel Mountains, of course, but they didn't want the two circuits mixed up, so Norisring was a sort of name invented for this particular venue.
Yeah, and it's a fairly simple circuit, not too many corners, but there are still a couple of tight hairpins at the end of each straight, and this circuit, obviously being in Germany, very well connected and grounded within the DTM community, so many a race has gone on here in the past.
Indeed it has, with a history dating back, of course, to the 30s, but we probably won't dwell on that too much at Nuremberg, because there's a quite famous thing that happened here that I think people are very, very keen to forget and learn from. But I'm not talking about racing. So anyways, you look at Luke Mitchell, just getting the King's car through its paces, but that purple first sector is immediately eclipsed by Adam Zuxten. So Luke Mitchell, of course, has had some good performances so far for King's Racing, on 79 points at the moment, 11th in the championship. So he's the last driver not to get any ballast. Of course, he missed a couple of rounds early in the season, so him and King's Racing really fighting back after missing out at Brands, where I don't think any of the King's cars attended at all. As we see James Knox, who had a very good performance at Brands Hatch, powering towards the line now and setting the fastest time. And of course, James Knox, 19th in the championship with no ballast whatsoever, and continuing as a result that impressive qualifying form we saw at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, and another thing to point out that you're probably going to want to do in qualifying in order to get a good lap, although Knox having quite a bit of a gap, is looking for a toe. As you can see, there's one pretty long straight for the start-finish straight, and a few straights here, there, and in between, being a street circuit. So slipstream is, well, paramount, really, and I think when we actually get to the racing, it's going to be slipstream city.
Certainly is, as Noah Toemela sets the fastest middle sector. Let's see if he can make anything of that as he goes towards the line. He gets himself onto the front of the second row. There we go, a 53.7, so he is about 3/10 of the lap times that Knox and Luke Mitchell are saying. Luke Mitchell has set a very impressive lap time, just 65 thousandths off of James Knox there. Scott Mitchell-Marm displaces Noah Toemela, so in the battle between KV86 and Kings, which is still quite close in the team's championship, relatively speaking. 200 points for KV86, 156 for Kings after missing the last event, of course. So Kings playing catch-up, while it's Simcoe on 306 points, with Adam Zuxten, Ballast Kiss very much dominating the Drivers' Championship as well in first and third, respectively, as well. So very important for Kings to get both cars ahead of Toemela, as Luke Mitchell sets the provisional fastest time. There we go, 53.1. They're coming thick and fast here, Ryan.
Yeah, and as the track begins to rubber in, obviously that all starts from practice that they've been doing. We are going to start seeing some faster lap times, and the gaps are actually pretty big at the moment. Unlike, say, Brands Hatch we had last year, where the times were very close. In fact, I think the top 13 were all within a second of each other and quite tightly bunched. There is quite some big gaps appearing.
I was just thinking, Browns was only a month ago, and you're right, it was last year, so it's in the previous calendar year, so you're absolutely spot on there, and my brain is still adjusting to the fact that it's 2025, but here comes Luca Filan, and
you say it's 2025. I thought it was still 2020.
Oh my goodness! Oh no! I've got bad news for you, Ryan. You're 5 years older than you thought you were. But anyway, Luca Filan is able to get into fifth, right behind his teammate Noah Tuamel. And when I say right behind, I mean 51 thousandths of a second behind. As here comes Ballast Kiss, championship leader, sixth on the grid at the moment, not able to improve. So that full ballast, all 75 kilograms, starting to affect Ballast Kiss. So I think top six with that much ballast on board is still quite impressive. He's 42 thousandths ahead of Luca Gray at the present moment. Gray, who's of course had a very tough start to the season, is not running any ballast. In fact, we kept him in the non-point scoring Hunter Birch simply because to shift him over back into the 42, the point scoring second Hunter Birch would have added a load of 75 kilograms of ballast. So we thought, give Luca a lighter car and let's have some fun, because I think Teams Championship is a little bit out of reach compared to the top three teams. But nonetheless, here's Adam Zux in the second of our Simcoes. Where is Adam? He's down in 17th at the moment, 1.4 seconds off the pace. Doesn't sound like a lot on paper, but you see all the cars in between. You can tell Zux really struggling, even though he's got less ballast than his teammate. Only 57 kilograms compared to the full 75 that Ballast Kiss is lugging around here at the Norisring. And that's really affecting them down the straights, especially as we see up to the line. Tuamela goes, I think that's Gray actually goes fourth fastest. And where did Adam Zux get to? 12th. So he got the gap down to 9/10 to Luke Mitchell.
Yeah, and obviously, unlike Brands, where we had the Indy and later the Grand Prix layouts, with the Indy layout, we saw Kiss dominate those races, and there wasn't really much in terms of straights there. So the ballast, not as much of a disadvantage as it is here, where you've got these the long straights. The ballast does have quite an effect, and as you can see with Kiss down in 8th now and 7/10 off. Yeah, this could be interesting.
Yeah, it's certainly a little bit unpredictable who is going to come away with this pole position, but Luke Mitchell doing a fantastic job. It helps that him and James Knox have got no ballast whatsoever, whereas and it's the same with Scott Mitchell-Malm as well, actually, to be fair. So Kings, having missed the last event, that has got them out of the top 10 and out of ballast range, essentially. And here's another new driver who actually is lugging around 75 kilograms of ballast. That's Joe Herlock, of course, who you may recognize from GPVWC, raced for the Valet team in Superlights last season and won a couple of races as well. Very, very experienced, very quick driver, Joseph Herlock. So obviously running the full blast now in qualifying. We'll have to see come races 2 and 3 what Joe is capable of as he goes straight on there. So I would suggest he's abandoning this lap and going into the pits. Indeed he is, with 2 minutes remaining. So of course, with less than a minute lap time, those pitting right now might still have enough time for 1 or possibly 2 more runs.
Yeah, and with the track constantly evolving, you're going to want to be one of the last people out there because you're going to get the best conditions of the circuit. You're going to get the grippiest version of that circuit. So effectively, it should be the last runners across that line before the flag goes down should have the best track and ability to do the fastest lap.
Yeah, a bit of a discrepancy here, of course. 40 degrees Celsius track temperature, but the ambient temperature is only 2 degrees Celsius because, of course, it's been pretty cold today in Europe, and especially if in the UK, you've probably seen a fair bit of snow hitting the ground. It's certainly caught a couple of people out. I got a message from someone else at my scout group because they were doing a leaders meeting or something. They were saying, "Oh, be careful when you park up," because I nearly hit the fence, essentially, because I got caught out by how slippery the surface is. But anyway, when he was parking his car. But no such drama here at the Norisring, as Luca Filan still unable to improve. And of course, Luca Filan is 9th in the championship, so he's got 15 kilograms to lug around. So he is sort of feeling a bit of the pain of that as we cut back to Luca Gray, 4th at the moment. basically him and Mitchell and Knox at the front of the field benefiting from no ballast whatsoever. And Gray goes fastest in the middle sector. He's been on pole before in EERC British Touring Cars, and he's looking to replicate that feat at the moment, but he was about nearly 2/10 off in the first sector. So let's see if he can get onto the front row. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, third fastest. So he just beats Scott Mitchell-Malm there by a 10th of a second then. So good lap right when he needed it, as we're about to run out of time in this qualifying 20-minute session. Oh, and Luca Gray decides to do a bit of wall riding there. Checkered flag is out as we watch Alan Axon going through the S-curve. And now traveling towards the back end of the circuit, down the Zeppelinstrasse, or the Zeppelin Straight, and towards the Dutzendteich Kehre, which is a turn 7, the left-hand hairpin. And now it's a flat-out run through turn 8 towards the start-finish line as Krzysztof Zielski gets the Optiminal car into 8th position on the grid. So that's a good effort from Zielski, just 200ths, I think, away from Oliver Hargitay. Axon, though, the unlimited esports car, lugging a fair bit of ballast because he's 6th in the championship, 33 kilograms of all that car. He's not able to improve on 18th position. So Axon giving himself a lot of cars to slice through come the races file in. Still unable to improve on that 6th position then. So a lot of cars just feeling the pain of that ballast here at this phase of the season. But it's Luke Mitchell that is very convincingly taken pole position.
Yeah, and, we see Luca Gray in one of your cars in 3rd in the Honda, and obviously got some sort of grips with the car because, if I remember correctly, your drivers weren't particularly happy with the Honda.
No, they weren't, except when it rained, of course. But here is our top 10 then, before we go through the rest of the field. It isn't Silverstone, by the way. That's just a graphic that has failed to update since the opening round of the season. But it is, of course, round 5 at the Norisring. We're more than halfway through the season, and taking pole ahead of race 1 is Luke Mitchell for Kings Racing. So Kings back on top with James Knox alongside him on the front row, looking to impress once again in the Dalma Auto Racing car. Luca Gray was able to beat Scott Mitchell-Malm to 3rd with his car that's got no ballast. So all the top 3 with 0 ballast. Scott Mitchell-Malm, the first of those cars with a couple of kilograms of ballast on board, in 4th. Then it's the 2 KV86 teammates of Noah Toimella, 4th in the championship ahead of his teammate Luca Filin. Oliver Hargitay in the 2nd of our Hunter Birches is 7th. Then it is Krzysztof Zielski for Optiminal Esports, his best qualifying of the season so far, in 8th, ahead of Thomas Raschke, another driver, impressing back to his regular livery in the Ducking Fast car. Then it's Ballas Kiss rounding out the top 10, our championship leader, starting race 1 from 10th. Peter Schoenman will start 11th ahead of the sister team, Vinavond White of Stanislas Pajald. Then it is Mark Horvath, 13th in the other Vinavond. Adam Zux, 14th, the second of our Simcoes. Disappointing qualifying for Zux. He'll be hoping to make up ground 2 in the race. Peter Neuendorf is 15th in the Solar Pot Racer. Then it's Joseph Herlock in his first appearance in 16th. Francisco Perez, 17th. Alan Axon way down the field in 18th. Then it's David Granville in 19th on his first appearance. And Lorenzo Oturovic Funzik, I'm pretty sure his name is just Lorenzo Oturovic, so he's added the fun bit at the end, in 20th for the Dalma team. And I believe that is all of our competing drivers, of course, with Nick Homewood waiting in that safety car in the pit lane, of course. And I'm sure Nick will be on hand in case anything interesting or insightful pops into his mind that he'll join us in commentary around. But anyway, so for Kings, this is a big opportunity. Luke Mitchell first, Scott Mitchell-Malm 4th, of course. We know Jack Nichols in the 3rd of the Kings had a very, very good start to the season, but his availability has not been as strong as the other 2 drivers. So it's really down to the 2 Mitchell brothers, isn't it, to do the business, with Luke 11th in the championship and Scott Mitchell-Malm, his brother, in 13th. But the upside of that is, of course, no ballast. And 4 British drivers in the first 4 places on the grid, of course. Mitchell, Knox, Gray, and Mitchell-Malm. So the Brits are certainly having a good qualifying in Germany, but We know Knox and Gray have not had the best of luck even after strong qualifying historically in this championship, so they'll be hoping for a clean start, whereas Kings will be trying to sandwich both of them and get Scott Mitchell-Marm up the field and hopefully get 2 Kings cars onto the podium. It's certainly possible today.
Yeah, and I think, if I remember correctly, was Luke Mitchell running second in the championship before having a bit of a break off?
He was certainly quite high up the points, wasn't
Yeah.
he? After Zandvoort, I think, because he won the races at Zandvoort, I'm pretty sure. Race 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and well, for the first race, we'll have the top 3 places taken up by 3 different manufacturers, with the Ford, the Cupra, and the Honda.
Right, here we go. We got a result sheet in front of me. So, first 3 races of the season at Silverstone. I think, let's see. So, Luke Mitchell, P4 in race 1 at Silverstone, P5 in race 2, P7 race 3. Then Zandvoort, P4 race 1, P1 in race 2. So I did remember correctly, and then P5 race 3. Then he missed both events at Brands Hatch, actually, which is why he's dropped down the championship order.
One of those, will count as his drop score. So technically, he's only missed 1.
That's very, very
grand
true.
scheme of the championship. Also, I don't know if you picked up on it. We're only having 2 races today because we're starting late. So we're doing
okay.
Race 1 as normal with qualifying, and then we will do the reverse grid race 3. So we're doing race 1 and 3, basically skip out race 2.
Yeah, I'm just informing my drivers. So make sure you use your softs before race 3, because it's not happening. So does that mean race 2, it's like Brands, like race 2 becomes a reverse grid race?
Yeah, race 1 isn't double length or anything. It's just a normal race 1, and then we do the reverse grid race. That's race 2.
Okay. Right, so exciting first race in Prospect here. Of course, we apologise that we got going so late, but that was literally because Nick got delayed in the snow, essentially. Yamadox in chat says the newcomer ballast sucks, and he says Guten Abend. But to be fair, that was brought in deliberately because people were joining the championship mid-season and then had no ballast whatsoever. So James Knox had to go through his newcomer ballast and is now benefiting from that, isn't he? Because, of course, he went through, had the ballast in the first race at Brands, and then the second event, the full Brands GP loop, James Knox, having gone through the newcomer ballast, was able to qualify really, really well and impress everybody. Once more getting onto the front row, of course. So, yeah, Knox has certainly proved himself to be one to watch. As he file in, doing a bit of drifting, as he just gets to the corner, car turned into turn 7.
Yeah, we've been seeing quite a few drivers do that, so that's going to be something to look out for when it comes to the race. Are we going to see some T-bone moments coming into that final hairpin?
Let's hope not, because that could be quite controversial, as it looks like the server is ticking over from warm-up to the race session. So 19 laps in Prospect here. I think Thomas Rashke was saying with about half an hour to go before the race that he didn't know how much fuel he needed to put in to finish the race. So there we go, 19 laps worth. So get your calculators out, ladies and gents. You certainly don't want to run out as poor Kieran Prendergast did in the Le Mans Ultimate race I was commentating on last Sunday, quite infamously from the lead on the final lap of the race with 2 corners to go at the end of an endurance race. So that was a pretty gutting way to lose that race, of course, as Kamal Nawi, I think, stole it from him. But yeah, anyway, this is a completely different kettle of fish. Touring cars, a lot more physical and a lot less time to make those moves in. So, other than we haven't talked about Ballast Kiss, so I think it's about to show up on the grid in 10th position, just behind where our camera is. Lots of work for our championship leader to do here.
Well, as you said, he's got quite a bit of ballast on him, so I think his nickname should be Ballast Kiss. And it'll be interesting to see what he does.
Lights on.
Lights on.
And we are go here at the Norisring. And it looks like most of the field has made a clean getaway. Mitchell has got Knox almost alongside him, going to the first corner. Oh, big crash. And that's Hargitay involved in that one. and Mark Horvath too, losing a couple of places down the field. As look at this, round the outside, tries James Knox, and he's going to actually see Luca Gray undercut both of them. Fantastic racecraft from Luca Gray to take the lead for Hunterbird Simulation, but Luke Mitchell is still alongside as they're going to turn 3, and we see that's Alan Axon that was involved in the crash with Hargitay at the start there as Luca Gray holds the inside. They're going to go almost 3 wide as Mitchell bashes into the wall there, and it's Gray that pulls clear as Knox now takes the advantage to go up to second.
Yeah, and a brilliant first few corners by Gray, and we see Knox going up the inside. Sorry, Mitchell going up the inside, and then it's Knox up into second now as they're jockeying for position. Gray's starting to check out here where these two are starting to squabble, but now it's the slipstream, and it's Mitchell having another look on Knox into this first corner.
Yep, so Luke Mitchell trying to go for the outside. Keep your eyes on Tuo Miller as well, right behind Scott Mitchell-Marm, trying to challenge for 4 position as here goes Mitchell back up the inside of Knox into, and very, very physical between Mitchell-Marm and Tuo Miller there. Mitchell-Marm holding on to 4th by the skin of his teeth then, but it got very, very physical into that first hairpin, the Grundiker.
Yeah, and that was Mitchell-Marm basically saying, here's the wall to Amela just there.
I think he knows where the wall is, but he was showing him the wall as it looks like Axon and Hargitay have retired after crashing into each other on the start-finish line. That's a big shame. That's the team point-scoring Hunter Birch car out. And Alan Axon, of course, in the Independence Championship. That creates a big opportunity for Thomas Raschke, who, of course, is still last of those running, but looking to score big points over Alan Axon in the Independence Championship as Gray sets the fastest lap of the race and has now pulled a second clear of Luke Mitchell. That's exactly what he needed.
Yeah, and towards the back of this group, you see Kiss in 7th position. He's hanging on to the back of this getaway group, and obviously he's come from 10th position on the grid, so a few moves made and a few mistakes here and there has he's benefited from. Is he going to carry on further up the field?
He certainly might, as Ballas Kiss 8 tenths currently behind Luca Phelan. If Phelan and Tuomela stuck behind Mitchell-Marm, that creates a big opportunity as we look. Speaking of opportunities, here comes Zielski attacking Francisco Perez for 12th position, of course. Points go all the way down in the main championship to 15th position, I think. So everyone looking to get into the top. The final point currently held by Mark Horvath as Zielski certainly doing a very, very solid job on debut. But Joe Herlock has actually gained 4 positions from where he started. Well, several positions actually, because he started outside the top 14, I think, after qualifying, and is now running in the top 10 right behind Adam Zux, who of course has got a lot of ballast on his car as well. So very evenly matched, those two. As Thomas Raschke, is that him making a move? He's gained a couple of positions in quick succession. Looks like Alan Axon has rejoined the field 2 laps down, as Raschke has dealt with Lorenzo Oterovic and David Granville in the second of the Dalma Racing cars. So good to see Raschke putting on some moves.
Just need to mention the tyres quickly, sorry. So Gray, Mitchell, Marm, Tuomela and Phelan all on the softs. Everyone else except Axon are on the mediums. So those
James Knox, interestingly, on the mediums as well. So he's the only one in the top 6 to make that decision then. So Knox is keeping his soft for race 2, whereas Gray and Mitchell get them out of the way now. So no wonder Mitchell was able to get through so quickly, and he's now 4 tenths behind Luca Gray. Gray being caught here by 3 tenths on the previous lap. Is that Perez going wide into the first hairpin, and Szylski is through into 12th.
All these cars... Sorry, go on.
One at a time.
I was going to say Mitchell's was down to 2 tenths. It seems Gray's losing a lot of time through the first corner.
There we go. So Luke Mitchell, now he's not got James Knox to deal with, is knocking at the door of first position again. And Luca Gray, yet to win this season. He's had such a difficult start to the season, having to miss a few races, being knocked around, it feels like, every race. But finally, he has a good qualifying and gets the dream start. And he's not going to be eager to hand this first position over to Luke Mitchell in a hurry, though. Is also behind James Knox, is under attack from Scott Mitchell-Marm, who gets very close to the inside of Mitchell-Marm, defends from Tuomela, who is up the inside of him at the first hairpin, and Tuomela side by side almost in the fight for 4th position, but it looks like Mitchell-Marm has got the inside here as they go towards the S-curve.
Yeah, and it's still Gray leading just about. I don't know how he's not managed to lose that position yet, because Mitchell Marm's all over the back of him as they come into this final hairpin. And Mitchell's having a look up the inside of Gray. They're side by side coming out of the final hairpin, but still
yellow
Gray
in the
holding
first
on.
sector. And that's because Lorenzo Terovic, I think, has hit trouble and spun. And so another yellow in the first sector. So it's not cleared. So that will help Luca Gray because it means you can't overtake, or it has just cleared now. Scott Mitchell-Marm gets alongside Toemelo as he tries to get back in front then, but he's going to be on the outside for the hairpin. Yellow flags waving. So Mitchell-Marm will have to stay behind. Even if he had the run, he could not make the move there.
No, and like you said, there seems to be we've had a few laps now where we've had back markers having issues into turn one, and that's going to be heavily frustrating for the other runners because that is one of the main overtaking spots.
Lorenzo Terovic out of the race. Meanwhile, Stanislas Pajald has been overtaken by Thomas Raschke. So Raschke continuing his charge, as we also see Adam Zux is holding off a train of cars in 8th. So Zux has actually gained a few positions. He's passed Peter Schumann for 8th, and he's got Schunemann and Herlock and Nurendorf and Cizilski all in a train behind him as well. So that's a fantastic fight going on right now too. But I've got our eyes glued to this fight for the lead as Luke Mitchell, being very, very patient, is tucking in behind Luca Gray, flashing his headlights. He knows he has got the pace on Luca Gray, but he's got to find a way through. And Luca Gray is going to drive the widest Honda Civic you've ever seen to try and stop the win from falling between his fingers here.
Yeah, he's having to go defensive at every corner, and I think Mitchell's Ford Focus is going to need a replacement of headlamps by the end of this because they're going to be worn out. But he's still
going to break the button, pushing it that hard. Yeah, he's flashing them at every corner. Oh, and now he's bumping him in the back, just like we saw at turn 7 a couple of laps ago. That's a corner where he's just on the power so much earlier than Luca Gray, but he's got nowhere to go. There's that big green Honda Civic in the way.
Yeah, and actually, by bumping into the back of the Gray, that's given him a poor exit out of that corner, and so that's going to be another lap stuck behind Gray, I reckon.
Oh, and here comes Joseph Herlock. He's tried to get alongside Peter Schunemann, and he's got Peter Nurendorf, the two Peters, either side of Joseph Herlock, so it's not an enviable sandwich to be in. As the Optiminal driver tries to look up the inside. Cizilski, his teammate, is in there as well. So he has got a friend behind, but he's got to do the front guard action himself, it seems. And good performance, actually, from Peter Nurendorf to be just outside the top 10 on a day where Tim Nurendorf, of course, is not present. So this will have to be a dropped round for Tim Nurendorf in his championship quest. Is all around! Is that Luca Gray that has hit somebody? Looks like Luke Mitchell has lost a couple of positions as well. So big moment at the hairpin there, and James Knox has taken the lead.
Well, it looked like the two leaders had come together, so I don't know if Mitchell tried to send it and it didn't quite work out. We're going to see a replay here.
They must be coming into turn 7. Mitchell gets on the inside. Oh, and there's just nowhere to go. Luca Gray ended up being spun around there, and they're both the losers, as you say, because Knox, completely unexpectedly, has been able to inherit the lead. Fantastic drive from the young rookie here to hold his nerve and take the lead with 9 laps to go. But Luca Gray will be desperate to get back through. Now he's the one with the headlights on full blast on that Honda Civic. Yeah,
luckily for Gray, he only went down to 2nd position, although he'd be furious with Mitchell by the fact that he's lost the lead due to no fault of his own. Mitchell's now coming up past Tuamela for 3rd position right now.
Yeah, no ballast on Mitchell's car compared to Tuamela, of course, who has got a pretty high amount of ballast on that car, isn't he? Noah Tuamela 4th in the championship, 48 kilograms, as Gray getting very, very close, and the two Kings trying to hold up Tuamela, and there's more contact as this time Luke Mitchell nearly gets spun around as his teammate and brother Scott Mitchell-Marm goes around the outside of Noah Tuamela. So Kings are 3rd and 4th at the present moment. So KV86 being just about held off as Luca Gray very, very close to the back of James Knox now. So Knox under real pressure here if he wants to take his first win in what will only be his 3rd event in EERC British Touring Cars.
Bear in mind he's on the medium tyres as well, so this is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, but of course the mediums will have better shelf life than the softs as the race goes on. In theory, at least, especially the way Gray and Mitchell have been driving. But now he's got two very, very quick drivers to keep behind him in this final part of the race, and it might be a little bit too much. Here comes Luca Gray. He's positioning himself to the outside for the hairpin. Turns in from the outside just to let James Knox know he's there. Opportunity knocks for Knox. But Luca Gray is absolutely pushing him around these corners now.
Oh, Gray, I think, almost forgot the fact that Knox was there and just turned in like he wasn't even there. So a bit more of clattering, and that's allowed Mitchell to get right onto the back. So we've got a three-way battle for the lead now.
Yep, and of course, Luke Mitchell already probably feeling annoyed and held up by Luke Gray, and now he's going to continue to express that feeling. Let's hope it doesn't become a more physical expression as they will get so close to the barrier on exit here. But all three of these drivers with no ballast whatsoever. Knox on the mediums, Gray and Mitchell on the softs here with just 7 more laps to go then. Or 6 more laps, I should say, as Knox starts another one. And look at this, Luca Gray needs to get through now because he knows Luke Mitchell as they almost go 3 wide through the hairpin. And James Knox doing a fantastic defensive drive because it's becoming a 5-6-way car battle now.
Mitchell's up the inside of Gray right now. So Mitchell's going up into second position, and he does.
Oh, there we go. Fantastic racecraft from Luke Mitchell. Was able to use the fact that Gray was held up by James Knox to his advantage and now slots his way into second position. Now he's just got one more car to clear to get back into the lead that he held from pole position just so briefly in this race. And wide goes Knox. Oh dear, that's a very big mistake from the Englishman there, and that's allowing Luca Gray past as well. So Luke Mitchell gifted 2 positions in 1 lap and back in the lead with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, just a lock up on those medium tyres, maybe not giving him the level of grip and also the pressure being mounted by the 2 behind. But we're still seeing Gray having to take the defensive as Mitchell marmed and gets the crowbar out on Knox to get 3rd position.
Yeah, so this is where the softs are inferior to the mediums. Even with lower ballast, Knox is finding himself being shuffled a little bit down the pack here, and it's 2 Kings cars on the podium now, but I imagine Luke Mitchell might be giving James Knox his check in the post after that one, because he certainly didn't. We thought he was putting up a great fight up to that point, but that one mistake ended up losing him so much momentum, and not just time, but positions as well. And now, really the only driver that can stop Luke Mitchell winning this race is Luca Gray just behind. So it's Luke versus Luca, and just 4 more laps to run then after this one, which is ended in a few... No, yeah, there we go. 5 laps remaining. So I did say 5 laps the previous lap, but that just shows that I can't count under pressure. But anyway, Luke Mitchell has done the hard work to get in front. Can he stay there as we see Knox try to keep Tuamela at bay now?
And Mitchell still with Gray 0.8 of a second, although he is actually starting to gradually pull that gap out. So Gray's going to have to put in some stellar lap times as we look at a cluster of cars towards the back, and that's the Nuremberg going up the inside of Schumann. And Schumann taking a bit too much of the curb there and the wall for good measure.
Yeah, the rear completely stepping at that. I think Peter had more grip than he thought he would into the S-curve there, and he had to take evasive maneuvers not to hit the wall. But yeah, fantastic fight between the 2 Peters, but it has allowed Adam Zooks to escape up the road as Ballast Kiss is only about 2.5 seconds behind Luca Fun, despite having max ballast. So of those on the full Ballast Kiss doing the best job by far to limit the damage here that his championship rivals can do, as we see Tuamela all over the back of Knox. And now here comes Joe Herlock on the back of Schumann. He's another driver with full ballast, remember. Going to the outside here. Can Herlock go the long way around Peter Schumann into the first hairpin? Looks like he's going to have the inside for the S-curve. Oh, and bodying him into the side is Peter Schumann. He is not letting him through without a fight, but as they're still side by side through the S-curve, Peter Schumann is going to emerge with the inside, but it's Joe Herlock with a superior run through the corner. And again, very impressive on max ballast to get past Peter Schumann, who is only 7th in the championship, has got 27 kilograms of ballast. So that's significantly less, and he's going back up the inside into turn 7. He's going to spin Joe Herlock around, and through comes Szylski, but he is being held up now by Peter Schumann as well. Schumann fighting absolutely everybody, and they're now breezing past down the straights.
Yeah, somehow Herlock managed to stick it out around the outside, and he's managed to come take the pair of them back again.
I think Peter left it off.
Oh, and here
I
come
was
the
just
two
looking on the
Optiminals trying to hold on. And it's Zielski that's going to be put to the outside. And Peter Schumann finds his way through. Look at Rashke. Rashke's around. Row! Over goes Perez. Perez flips it. And oh, what a dramatic moment there as Peugeot, his teammate, comes upon the scene. As we're going free wide into the S-curve. Zielski trying to muscle his way back on the inside. And he's bodied out of the way. Schumann not making any friends today.
Yeah, I think Schumann playing bumper cars today in this absolute melee towards the back end of the field, and we got that's a slow moving Cupra. Not quite sure who.
That's one of the
who that is.
Dalmers. It's one of the Dalmers. It's not James Knox. Knox still holding on to 4, so it must be his teammate David Granville who's now gone a lap down.
Okay, so now we got the two powerhouse cars together. So actually, Knox has managed to pull away a bit from Tuamela. So I don't know if Tuamela's made a mistake somewhere, or the end of this race, which we're on the second to last lap now.
Here comes Rashke. He's gone from the back of the field, and he's now up to 12, past Peter Schumann there. So fantastic drive from Thomas Rashke.
Someone's over in the background again.
Oh dear, it's not Perez again, is it? Oh dear, Schumann gets back past Rashke into the S-curve there, as looks like Granville did well to break it in time for that corner because he was heading straight for the wall. Let's look at Schumann going all the way to the inside onto the old pavement there at Norisring, which you don't see drivers take to too often, but that gives him the inside of inside his lines for turn 7, but it's not enough. Rashke goes around the outside, and now it's Zielski's turn to take advantage as we go into the final lap of the race, and Mitchell still leads Gray, who has fought back to half a second behind him at the present moment, and he's got Mitchell Mann behind him. That's why he's pushing him all the way. So it's going to be a photo finish between the two Kings and the Hunter Birch of Gray.
Yeah, are we going to see a move maybe from Mitchell Marm into this final hairpin? No, not quite close enough. But is Mitchell Marm going to have the drive out of the hairpin? And they're coming back down the back straight, and it looks like it's going to be Mitchell for the win.
So Luke Mitchell wins the first race here at the Norisring after starting on pole position, but boy did he have to fight for that one. But Luca Gray getting his best result this season in second, Mitchell Marm third, and oh, so close. Luca Filin must be obeying team orders because he knows Noah Tuamela has got the higher number of points in the championship at the moment. And here come the last few point scorers then, with Peter Neuendorf heading home, Joe Herlock for 9th. Then it's Mark Horvath, Thomas Rashke, and Peter Schumann just in front of Krzysztof Zielski there. So it was really hammer and tongs further down the pack, wasn't it? As we see a couple of replays about to be shown now of the start.
Yeah, definitely some panels needing to be bashed out before the next race.
I think the Finn Avon team needs to get a new roof because Perez, I think, has retired before the end. So clearly, rolling it over at the first, the curbs at the first corner has done quite a bit of damage.
Also went upside down.
Oh, so both the Finn Avons flipping over there.
Yep.
So Perez and Peugeot, the TPs. All right, let's see a replay of the start then. Oh, and you can just see that it was actually a really good getaway for Rashke there. It got him alongside. Oh, and Rashke, that was why he dropped down the field. He almost squeezed Hargitay into the wall there. And it looks like Axon came upon it just behind as well, as this is Mitchell just fending off. He was so focused on Knox that he almost didn't spot Luca Gray coming up the inside until it was too late there.
Yeah, as we look back on the that's big
just got caught by Rashke. So there was nothing either of them could have done there because I think Rashke was full on the brakes here. So
I couldn't tell if Rashke got a really good start or if it was a jump start. It was so much quicker off the line than anyone else.
Well, that's one way to say thank you by taking out 2 cars in one. But Rashke, of course, did drive extremely well to recover after that. But yeah, he could be in trouble for that one because to me, from a totally unbiased position, oh dear, that was Granville and one of his Dalma teammates. That can't have been James Knox surely lapping him to get him out of the way, was it?
It was.
Well, it must have been. It was Lorenzo Terevic in the other one. There we go. And his Peugeot is slammed into the wall at turn 7. And it looks like he may have got, a little bit too close to call his teammate. That's the 51 of a Horvath that he just collected there.
Yeah, and absolute chaos there as we see. Oh, that's Axon going off. Obviously,
This
he
is after he came out the pits then. So,
Yeah, came
of
out
course
the
he knows
pits,
it's a long
yeah.
way down. And this is Tuo Mella fighting with Mitchell Marm, isn't it? This was him briefly getting ahead up the inside at the Grinsitz hairpin, wasn't it? Grindick hairpin, I should say. And then this is the Mitchell and Gray collision. I think Luke Mitchell will feel Luca Gray turned in from the outside, and Luca Gray will say, well, I wasn't quite far enough alongside to be entitled to space. And certainly it was a very, very late lunge from Luke Mitchell there. But, of course, it did allow James Knox to briefly run in the lead, so he won't be complaining about that one bit as we see Tuo Mella muscling his way alongside Knox, but not quite able to get through. So, dramatic first race. Let's recap the results then. Luke Mitchell takes victory from Luca Gray after a very physical race-long battle. Scott Mitchell-Marm takes third from James Knox. I think that's still Knox's best result of his EERC British Touring Car career to date. Noah Toemella beats Luca Violin just over the line to fifth. Then Ballast Kiss, the championship leader, still recovering to seventh. So a good damage limitation drive from the Simcoes, with Adam Zooks backing him up in eighth. Peter Neuendorf, one of his best drives of the season, to ninth, with Joe Herlock finishing 10th on his debut with full ballast in that car. Very impressive. Mark Horvath came home in 11th. Thomas Raschke recovered from the huge start line melee to finish 12th. Then it's Peter Schumann 13th, Krzysztof Zizielski 14th, Francisco Perez retiring at the end of the race, but still classified ahead of his teammate Stanislas Bajoud. I think they're both classified 15th, which is somewhat confusing. David Granville, he comes home in 17th after a bit of collision between himself and Lorenzo Oterovic. Alan Axon did get going again at the end, but it was a very, very difficult race after that start line collision. Lorenzo Oterovic retired, as did Oliver Hargitay. His race lasted just a few meters, sadly, for the Hunter Birch driver. So, race 2 in Prospect. That'll be our final race of the day, the reverse grid race. So, here comes the draw that will decide who starts on pole position. And it's going to be ninth place. Who else but Peter Neuendorf then will inherit pole position ahead of Adam Zooks and Ballast Kiss in the Simcoes then. So Peter Neuendorf is going to do quite the defensive job. We've seen Tim Neuendorf win before. Can his father, Peter, pull it off here at the Norisring?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. And obviously, Kiss with the maximum ballast is going to be making his
I'm not sure
car-
if that's going to be the case in race 2. He might have the ballast of finishing 7th, essentially.
Ah, okay.
Because it's going to be Mitchell, I think, with the most ballast. Or it depends, because usually it's a little bit of a toss-up in the air because of the race 2 having to effectively be cancelled because we're running behind schedule. Only slightly behind schedule. We've pretty much caught up at this point. In fact, we might even be slightly ahead compared to where we normally
we're going to take this whole warm-up session.
Okay, well, we're on time then.
Well, yeah, but if we were going to do so, we'd start another race in 10 minutes, which would then last until 8:45, and then we'd have another 10-15 minutes fiddling around, so we wouldn't be done until about 9:30, which is half an hour later than usual.
So then,
yeah.
It'd be interesting to see who's got soft. We know James Knox has got soft tyres available. We know everyone else in the top 6. I think Kiss and Zooks have got softs, and Neuendorf as well. So all of our top 3 are probably going to start on the soft tyre then.
As far as I can remember, everyone pretty much is going to be on the soft tyre except Mitchell Gray, Mitchell Marm, and was it Tuamela?
Tuamela and Phylan, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Phylan must have been on the softs because he was pretty much the same pace as Tuamela throughout the race. And we know Tuamela was definitely on softs. So there you go. Should be just 5 minutes of warm-up then, I suppose, until we get going then. And certainly a big opportunity. We didn't talk too much about Ballast Kiss in that first race, Ryan, but he did a really strong job to go from 10th on the grid to 7th, despite having the full 75 kilograms of ballast. And of course, another driver that won't have the full ballast is Joseph Herlock, who of course finished outside the top 10. No, he did finish just in 10th, so he will have 5 kilograms of ballast still, or 9 kilograms, I should say. But nonetheless, that's going to be an awful weight taken off both of their shoulders here coming into this next race. So ballast kiss, you've got to say, I have to say, in my opinion, if he can clear Adam Zux and Peter Nundorf quickly, then he's got to be the favourite to win this one.
Yeah, and I think it would be one of his regular showings at that point. Obviously, for Kiss in that first race, it was a matter of what positions he could make up on the start and in the first lap. And then as soon as everyone else started to get into their groove, he basically found himself stuck in 7th position and was unable to make any more ground. So it's probably going to be a bit more of a breath of fresh air for him in this race.
Yep, certainly. Another driver that we're hoping to have a much better race too is Oliver Hargitay, who's just... I think he has a lot of things to say about that start, and none of them are particularly broadcastable. So, just to say this. I think he just said, thanks, Thomas, because him and Thomas usually are in the same chat together. Not for this one, understand, but I think Thomas left quite quickly after that. But yeah, certainly Luca Gray in a much better mood than normal, which is great to see after a really strong performance there. But I think starting 8th on the grid, Gray and Mitchell are going to have a tough job with the most ballast of anyone, I think, in this second race to get back up the field here. Yeah,
and obviously a lot of the field going to be on the softer tyres with them on the medium. So, as you said, it's going to be a struggle. I mean, top 5 still on the cards for them, but
yeah, we saw Knox on the mediums still get although admittedly with no ballast, get through into 4th. So it is doable. In fact, Knox very nearly won. If Luca Gray and Luke Mitchell are taking each other out, there may have even been a podium in it for James Knox there. But luckily, they did come to their senses. I'm trying to be careful not to bias my driver too much when talking about that incident.
With the ballast they've got, so we're talking Mitchell, Mom, Gray, Duhamel, the full ballast, harder tyres. I think they're going to drop like a bit of a stone because everyone else will have soft tyre and less ballast. And around a track like this, that's going to be quite a disadvantage.
That looked like an Astra with a blown engine down the back straight there.
Quite possibly. We get a comment in the chat from Munke LEF who says, I've got softs too, but I'm useless. I think that's Rashke, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken. Is Munke Mark Horvath?
I don't know. Who is Munke?
There's another driver, Yamadox, who's talking earlier. I
think that's Lorenzo Aterovic.
Oh, it's Aterovic, okay. I think Yamadox is somebody else in the fifth. That might be Peter Schumann, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe Remco?
Yeah, well, it was the guy complaining about the newcomer ballast, so it might actually be... Oh, it's not Joe Herlock, Yamadox, is it? Because, I know he comments in a lot of the GPV streams, usually when he's not driving, of course. So it's hard to remember everyone's different accounts on YouTube, of course. My one just says my name, so it's pretty easy to keep track of. But he was saying, when I gave an explanation of why the newcomer ballast is there, he said, don't try and use your logic on me, Ed. Okay. I think I was always hired more for my emotion and passion rather than my logic, so it makes sense. That tracks. Oh, it is Remco that's Yamadox, so I completely misremember that. That makes a lot of sense. But Remco probably quite impressed with the performance of Joseph Herlock and Zazielski. They were really in the mix of things, just outside the top 10. So I think Joe Herlock, as much as he'll be disappointed to just miss out on the reverse grid draw, starting 10th, he's got a lot of drivers with heavy ballast and medium tyres ahead of him, and he's got soft tyres, I think, at his disposal. This could be a really good opportunity for Joseph Herlock to show what he can do. And in fact, he's fastest in this practice session on the softs at the moment. So that really shows you, a warm-up session, I should say. So that really shows you he is completely focused on this race too and trying to make the most out of it.
Yeah, and Pajad, second fastest as well in this warm-up session. Obviously, some people opting not to go out and do sometimes. In fact, we've only had 4 times posted in this session. Obviously, Pidge had another person on his roof, from what we were told, in that last race, so he's going to be towards the back.
It's difficult to tell the Finavons apart, especially when they're upside down. But
yeah, you just got to look for I can't remember. Two of the teams Fiat running Focuses and one Astras, or is there? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head now.
that sounds about right. Yeah, it's your team, Nick.
Yeah.
You should be.
Here's the Focus team and the Astra team. So you've got Peugeot and Horvath in Focus, and you've got Schunemann and Perez in
That'd be the
Astra.
green team. That'd be the white team then, yeah.
Because there's one that's obviously both that have got the black and orange livery, but then there's one that's got is it yellow and blue on the back of it?
Yeah, so that's Mark. He really likes Minion.
Okay, so he's
Okay.
dressing up the car.
So it's a little Minion car. He had the
There you
Astra
go.
he had the Astra last season, and he had the full Minion, but didn't go.
Yeah.
If you go up,
It
as
looks
well,
a bit more IKEA. It looks a bit more IKEA livery than Minion, but I can kind of see the eyes either side of the BTCC logo.
Yeah, they're on the roof as well.
Oh goodness, this is the stuff of nightmares, ladies and gents.
I like it.
Okay, yeah. You and every grandma on Facebook loves it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, so as warm-up is about to finish in a couple of seconds' time, and Joe Hurlock continuing to pump in. Actually, no, I think he set the 153.6 early, so that shows the softs in hot laps at least are about 8 tenths quicker, I think, than the mediums. So that is quite ominous ahead of this final race of the day. And another driver we didn't see get to do very much in race 1 was Alan Axon, who, of course, one of our rookies that's impressed so much early in the season. You could tell Axon, with 33 kilograms of ballast, qualified really badly and then got caught up in that incident. So hopefully Axon, starting 18th once again, can have a much better run of it in race 2 then. Although he's one of the drivers that's going to have to put up with being on medium tyres here, so there is a bit of a trade-off there. Apparently it's showing Nick Homewood ahead of Oliver Hargitay on the grid, which is slightly surprising.
Yeah, well, I think he DNF'd before he passed my car, which never left the garage.
Oh, okay. He wasn't in a good mood. Let's put it that way. But, understandably so. But anyway, Peter Nundorf, for the first time, takes up the first position slot. I'm sure Tim Nundorf, his teammate and son, will be cheering. Big. I need something inappropriate there. The big man on to greater things here. But he's got quite the job to keep the two Simcoes of Zux and Kiss behind him. Zux, I think, yet to take a win this season, but he's always been there to back up Ballast Kiss then, as everyone apart from Nick Coleman on the grid. So the light's about to go out, and we're going to see race 2 underway here at the Norisring. Oh, and it's a jump start again, I think, from Thomas Raschke there. He could be in trouble for that one as he starts to gain places up the field, but Peter Nundorf has held on, at least for now, onto the lead then, as he's got Adam Zux trying to go around the outside into that first tip, and Zux goes very, very deep. Oh, and Tuamela tries to squeeze Kiss into the wall at the first corner, which is not ideal, and that's allowing James Knox to get involved. I think Luca Gray was involved in a collision near the middle of the field there as well. He's down to 12th position, but Knox ahead of Kiss there, and that was not the ideal start that Ballast Kiss needed there. So our championship leader having, by his standards, a really difficult run here at the Norisring.
We got the safety car.
Oh, so it's a safety car deployed for that contact. Let's hope the drivers are informed in time then, as it looks like they're all still... Oh, there we go. They're starting to slow down just a little bit now, I think. But, yeah, big dramatic collision there, as Nurendorf crosses the timing beam for the first time, then ahead of Zux. Then it's Knox, Kiss, Tuamela, Filin, Hurlock up to 7th, Szylski 8th, Raschke 9th, and Peter Schumann rounding out the top 10 then.
Yeah, and...
dramatic start, and we're trying to see who got involved in all that collision there. So talk us through this replay, Ryan.
I'm assuming it was more towards the back, or they were looking more at the...
No, we're back to live.
Yeah, we're back to live. But I did feel like we said about Raster. Oh, here we go. This is the race start. So we have there Tuamela. Oh, and Tuamela going for a gap that wasn't really there, coming to a complete halt, and then we had one of the Fringer Vons coming in quite.
Yeah, he spun around Scott Mitchell-Mom and Luca Gray there, so both of them missing out. And in fact, Luke Mitchell delayed in that as well. So a bit clumsy and chaotic from Tuamela there. Lucky actually to still be in the race because he went for a gap that I think we have to be honest was never really going to be on. As we see the order still being sorted out here, I think is that Oliver Hargitay that's not realised that the safety car was deployed there and he's tried to gain a couple of places, or has he just been able to avoid the carnage at the start? Yeah, Hargitay just went around the outside of everybody there and gained about 5 or 6 places.
Just trying to see is unless a lot of the cars have got severe damage and require repairs, no one actually stopped on track somehow in that incident.
Yeah, that is quite impressive. But I think probably the right decision on balance from Homewood when he saw Tuamela just diving up the kamikazing up the inside, as he looks like Nick Homewood building a lead to try and get back to the pit lane. Then you can see the safety car a lot faster but a little bit trickier to control coming into the pits now. So safety car period about to end and Nuremberg is going to lead the pack away once again. So another opportunity for Adam Zux to strike here as they go back up to full speed. We're back into green flag conditions then on lap 3 out of 19, and Peter Nuremberg still holding on to the lead for the Pot Racer team from Adam Zux. Knox now trying to defend from Ballast Kiss, and how much damage did Kiss take from being hit by Noah Tuamela, who may well be damaged himself from squeezing himself in between Kiss and the barrier there. Not just kissing the barrier, but giving it a very full shove, I think, to say the least. But there we go. Excellent restart from Nuremberg. He is now backing Zux into the path of James Knox here. So he's doing exactly what we saw Knox try and do to Luke Mitchell and Luca Gray in the first race.
Yeah, as we see, this is your two.
Oh, Hargitay's got around the outside. Hargitay ran the outside of Luca Gray, and of course he's got much less ballast, and I believe the soft tyre at his disposal then. No, they're both on the mediums. So clever strategy there from the Hunter Birch drivers, both in the voice chat together. Hargitay being let through, and now Luca Gray trying to keep Perez at bay to protect himself and his teammate. As we see Zux set the fastest lap of the race with a brilliant final sector, a 10th quicker than Peter Nuremberg here. So Nuremberg is going to have to get his elbows out. Knox fancies a go at Adam Zux here. So Simcoe, who are of course the leaders in the team's championship, and the drivers have not really had things their own way. They've got Nuremberg and Knox, the flies in the ointment here, causing them trouble.
Yeah, and Nuremberg doing just the right amount of defense here. He's not over defending. He's just positioning the car just right and making life a lot harder for Zux. But Zux is having a look up the inside as we come into the hairpin, but not quite alongside enough. Nuremberg manages to brake late enough to stay ahead, and now Knox is all over the back of Zux.
You remember Knox, of course, 4th in the first race, 3rd in this one at the present moment. So he's actually got more ballast than all these drivers around him, who of course finished in the lower end of the top 10. Peter Nuremberg, of course, I don't think has any ballast, of course, because he finished... he finished 9th, didn't he, in race 1? So he has got a little bit of ballast, as we see. Oh, Joe Herlock fighting away with Luca Filin. 4th, 6th position, just behind Noah Tuamela, who we believe is nursing some damage here. So KV86 under attack from Optiminal Esports here, and Joe Herlock on a charge here in the S-curve, just has to brake in time to avoid hitting the back of Filin. So Filin doing a great defensive job at the moment. Don't forget about Thomas Raschke, still within 5/10 of Schoenemann, just behind in their own little battle here as well. So it's becoming a big train. Peter Nuremberg has got pretty much the entire top 10 chasing him down at the moment, and Zux looking very, very close now as they go through to start lap 7, and Zux is going to pull out what will become the outside line for the hairpin.
Yeah, and they're going to be side by side, but Nuremberg looking to still have just enough drive to keep that inside line into the hairpin, and he stays ahead into the lead. But there's going to be the overlap here. Zux is going to try around the outside. Now, is he going to come far enough alongside that he can stick it out around the outside into the hairpin? No, not quite. So Nuremberg still holding on to that lead, but power sliding through into the chicane.
Yeah, Peter Nundorf having to drive out of his skin to hold on to this lead from a charging Adam Zux, and Knox is coming for him as well, and he's dragging Kiss with him too. Up the inside comes Zux into turn 7. This time he's got all the front part of his car alongside. Peter Nundorf turns from the outside, and it's happened again. Knox is going through into the lead as our two leaders clash into each other, but Adam Zux is still alongside. All our top 4 right together then as they start lap 8, and it's getting really, really intense now. Adam Zux just holding on to the lead from James Knox, but it's Knox that's got the inside for the hairpin. Don't forget about Kiss, he's having a go, and Nuremberg as well. They arrive as one into the hairpin, and it's Knox that comes through in the lead, pushes Zux wide, and now potentially Kiss, who's cleared Nuremberg, can fight his way through into second.
Yeah, and Knox taking opportunistic move to take 2 into 1 from the pair squabbling over each other, but this has also allowed Kiss onto the back of Zux. And it also seems that Zux is still glued to the back of second position, but this time it's the Cupra.
Oh, look behind. That's Tuomela under attack from Herlock. Herlock has got through on Phylin, and he's dragged Zielski with him. So Joe Herlock up to P6 now, and look at this. That's Phylin and Zielski still fighting away then, with Peter Schumann joining the party. Peter Schumann looking, well, just like he did in race 1, to get very, very physical and gain positions in the process here. But James Knox, is he now on for his first win? Oh, round goes Nurendorf. That's absolute heartbreak. So it looked like Tuomela made a move on him at the hairpin, and once again Tuomela comes charging in and spins several cars around, and that's heartbreak for Nurendorf then. But now James Knox, completely on his own, has to hold off the 2 Simcoes. Yeah,
and absolutely gutted for Nurendorf, and I think we might see the wrath of the stewards for Tuomela as Knox has done it again. Knox has gone wide into the same hairpin as he did in race 1, and this allows Zux up the inside. So Zux has taken the lead now.
Yeah, there we go. So Knox slots in behind, gets some slipstream. The problem is he's fighting the 2 Simcoes completely on his own here, so they can just box him in here as Knox tries to get back to the inside. Adam Zux defending him in the road. Knox, pushes them wide, and that just allows Ballast Kiss to go up the inside of both of them. So Kiss takes the lead, our championship leader back on top with 9 laps to go then. And look at this, the Hunter Birches are getting physical. Thomas Raschke being overtaken there by Oliver Heigertai for 10th position, and Luca Gray is not far behind either.
Well, as it was for Knox, it was 1 Simcoe giveth, 1 Simcoe taketh in that situation. And Kiss has now opened up a nice gap of 4 tenths. It seems as long as you've got a 3 tenths lead, you're pretty much safe into the hairpin.
Yeah, horrible exit though for Knox. He just almost had to be pushed around by Adam Zux there to get through that corner, as we see all Thomas Raschke and the 200 Birches going 3 wide. Oh, that's a moment I almost want to shut my eyes for, but I wouldn't be able to commentate very effectively if I did. Now Nurendorf looking for revenge on Noah Tuomela, who bullied him out of the way so brutally earlier on. He's going to be trapped on the outside though. And round goes Tuomela again, pushing Peter Nurendorf into the wall there. And I don't think either driver are very impressed with each other. And Luca Gray collects Noah Tuomela, who struggles for control, spins
Someone's
it around.
rolled in the background.
Oh no, one of the Dalmas has flipped it in the background as well. It's absolute bedlam here at the Norisring. I haven't seen anything like this in touring cars here before. But there we go. David Granville, I think, was the driver that flipped. And that has been absolute carnage there for everybody involved. And Tuomela, I have to say, has not exactly covered himself in glory there. And yeah, certainly Luca Gray sort of getting involved in the aftermath. But now, up front, it's very much a Simcoe 1-2 with James Knox, as you say, repeating exactly the mistakes he made in the first race, as now Joe Herlock is upon him.
Yeah, and Kiss has just managed to clear off, really. He's put in a 1.4 or 1.3 seconds over Zux. And this is really the biggest margin we've seen for the race lead all day so far.
Yeah, you got to say for Adam Zux, if it wasn't for James Knox, he'd probably had a good chance of winning this one. But unfortunately, he's around the outside. That just had an amazing exit from the S-curve. Into turn 7 they go. Herlock is ahead, just ahead. Has to brake super late to get around. James Knox there. But Joe Herlock, in only his second BTCC race, is on the podium there. Obviously, he's got no ballast compared to James Knox, but fantastic drive nonetheless as Scott Mitchell-Malm now finds his way past Mark Horvath there at turn 7. Horvath is going to try and hold on around the outside as now Perez is under attack from, that must be Luca Gray trying to hold on to 10th position there as they duel away into the first hairpin there. But very impressive drive from Joe Herlock as Luca Gray tried to do a ring of death around the outside and sort of ran out of space and momentum there as Mitchell-Malm continues to duel with Horvath for 15th place.
Yeah, and Horvath is going to have the inside for the next, although Mitchell-Malm not quite doing the same as he did in race 1, where he hung it up around the outside, so has to concede to 16th. But Kiss, well, you said if it weren't for Knox, then Zux would have had an opportunity of winning this, but I think if it weren't for Kiss, because he's now 2.2 seconds up the road.
Yeah, certainly got very similar ballastable, both of those cars as Scott Mitchell-Malm. Do you think he likes the minions, Ryan? I don't think he does. I've been stuck behind that car for so long. But Luca Gray now once again trying to go around the outside of Perez then. Perez, of course, who flipped in the first race, having a much better second encounter here at the Norisring. There's a train of cars behind. Peter Nuremberg recovering from being bullied twice by Noah Toyomel. Oh, and in the wall. Speaking of which, that's Perez in the wall, and he's dragged Gray with him there. So some good luck for Peter Nuremberg for a change. He gets back into the top 10, and now Axon fancies a piece of Luca Gray, as does Luke Mitchell.
Yeah, and we see Schumann taking his, rather strange take to the curbs in defence, and he's still holding on to that 5th position.
I think he's got past Zilski here. There we go.
Yeah.
Zilski, you can tell that Optiminal has some really good straight line speed as we go into the final 5 laps of the race. This the battle for 5th position with James Knox not far up the road from either of them and still looking a little bit vulnerable. Knox still on to equal his best career result here after scoring 4th in race 1. Peter Schumann defending up the inside as they go door to door through the first corner there, and keep your eyes on Filin and Hargitay. They're starting to catch as well. Way too deep goes Perez into the first corner. I don't think he was ever going to make that corner in a month of Sundays, right?
No, that was definitely over-optimistic there, as we see side by side again.
And this is going to allow Zilski up the inside, surely into turn 7. And it's going to be an Optiminal 3-5. Oh, but Zilski has too narrow steering angle, tags the wall, and that's going to affect his speed down the straight. He tries to defend, he's not quick enough. Schumann's got the inside as they now make the long run towards the hairpin. Then only a couple more laps left to run here. Peter Schumann is back up the inside then, and Hargitay and Filin are starting to catch, and they're even dragging Nuremberg isn't too far, but no, that must be Rashke, sorry, in 9th position. As back up the inside goes Schumann to recomplete the move, but he's still alongside his Kuzisov Zilski, and he's going to try and recover that position. Back up the inside into the S-curve. Breaks super late. These two are just holding each other up and hemorrhaging time as Schumann pushes Zilski into the wall, and Filin tries now to slot through the middle in his KV86.
Yeah, and this is going side by side, 3 abreast, almost into this final hairpin, and it is going to be Schumann who takes to the corner, but is he going to still be in that position come the end of the straight?
I predicted Schumann would get physical, and it seems that was a fairly safe bet now as he's bunched the pack right together. Looks like Hargitay was able to get up the inside of Zilski very briefly before the Polish driver got back through then. And now into the first hairpin they go again. What's the order going to be? This time Zilski back up the inside of Luca Filin, pushes Filin wide, and a very grateful Oliver Hargitay goes into 7th position then. And look at Rashke, he's joining the party too in the ducking fast car. And look at this, how now Herlock has caught up to Zux here for 2nd place. What an impressive drive from the British driver. He's up the inside into turn 7, has to brake super late. He's surely not going to make that corner. He's made the corner. Now he just has to get the run out, but the Simcoe is still alongside then. 2 more laps to go, and Herlock really wants that runner's up spot.
Yeah, and I feel like the pace that he's going at, as they're still side by side as they come down a straight, but it's going to be Zux who's going to have the inside line as they come into the hairpin, and Herlock is trying to go around the outside of Zux. Zux is going to show him the wall, but he's still keeping it in there. So is he going to have a go up the inside into the S's.
Herlock has got the fastest lap of the race away from Ballast Kiss, but Zux doing the job for his teammate, defending like crazy in these final few laps to hold onto second position. But this is fantastic. We've not seen Optiminal run this high up the field before, and Joseph Herlock carrying through his form from a Grand Prix Virtual World Championship. Up the inside he goes once again, super late, and yeah, again this time Zux gets the cutback before Herlock can turn across in front of him, but Herlock will get the slipstream as we cut back to Peter Nuremberg, our former pole sitters Rashke, who's gotten through up the inside of the Hunter Birch of Hargitai, just tagging the inside of the hairpin there. But a fantastic breathless duel here between Herlock and Zux. Zux forces Herlock to go the long way around here, and the Hungarian defending well under immense pressure from the newcomer.
Yeah, and this is the final lap, so Herlock having another look, but he's going to tuck back in as they go through the S's. He's going to have a slightly better drive out of the S's based on the line that he's taken. So is he going to do another... whether the last couple of laps are a bit of a dress rehearsal, and it seems like Zux is a little bit more wise to it, but he's going to have a go at the inside. He's having a look at the inside. He's got the car stop. He's pushed Zux out wide. Now, who's going to have the drive? It's going to be a run to the line.
Yeah, but at the line already is Ballast Kiss to take what I believe is his 6th win of the season. And it's almost a photo finish, and it's Herlock that takes second position after a fantastic performance from the British driver. That's Optiminal's best result of the season and the fastest lap of the race to boot. As we see the rest of the field streaming through now. Schumer just holding on to 5th from Cecilski and Hargitai. And then here we go, Horvath just being beaten by Luke Mitchell at the line as the two Finavons of Pires and Pajode. Another difficult race for them, but we're about to see the two Dalmas here of Granville and Aterovich finish 19th and 20th. And last, they're still fighting away for that 19th position. Granville locks up like crazy. So does Aterovich. And yeah, Granville just about able to hold on to that 19th spot there. But Aterovich was locking up all 4 tires there as they go towards the finish line.
Yeah, another action-packed race from the Norisring. It's a shame that we've only got 2 races today.
Yeah, well, we have the snow in the UK to thank for that, holding up Nick Homer from getting 2. Oh, there we go, and there was the move from Tuomela. I think he just got caught out by how much they squeezed. There was initially enough space, and then, but the gap was always going to close, in my opinion. I think Tuomela was a little over-optimistic and a bit over-ambitious at several points today. And there's Pires, just getting it stopped in time and avoiding hitting the back. I think that was Luca Gray there.
Yeah, and this is Neuendorf getting T-bone.
That was in no way, shape or form Peter Neuendorf's fault there. Tuomela came steaming in like a steam engine there from... oh, yeah, you saw he was trying to make the move on Herlock and then sort of had nowhere to go. He sort of realized there was another car in front of him. And this is Schunemann reacting to all of this at the same time, right behind Cecilski. And he just is forced to sort of squeeze Feilin there in order to get through.
Yeah, and this is... I think that I couldn't tell if that was payback there or...
That looked unsighted there. That looked Tuomela was going to the racing line. And he should have known, surely, that he wasn't quite clear of a Neuendorf. I think Neuendorf was a little bit fed up, though. I agree completely. And look at the steering angle. He has to keep it straight to get through the hairpin there. And then he has that huge spin. And for almost comedic effect, there comes poor David Granville deciding to view the world from a different angle.
And this was Pires.
Pires was heading for the wall there. And then he had to do a big 360. Couldn't quite get the spin done, so he decided to just take the corner the absolute longest way around.
Yeah, that's part of the joys of having a front-wheel drive car. You can't quite do the spin turn.
Oh, and this is, I think, Granville, after that flip, going all the way around the outside of Lorenzo Terevich's teammate there. So... yeah, fantastic driving, actually, from Granville, not to be deterred. Of course, the rookie in one of his first appearances there. Certainly having some fun out there. And, of course, we did even get to see Nick Homewood drive the safety car. So all 21 of our field got to get involved today, although I'm sure Nick Homewood merciful that it was a short safety car period on this occasion. But nonetheless, Ballast Kiss victorious once again this time over Joseph Herlock, who narrowly beats Adam Zux after a fantastic performance. I have to say, Herlock is one of my drivers of the day in both events, it must be said. With all that ballast, getting into the top 10, and despite missing out on reverse grid, he more than made up for it in that race. Adam Zux just missing out, of course. Then James Knox equaling his best result from race 1 with another 4th position there for Delma. Peter Schumann was 5th for Finnevond after some very physical moves. I wouldn't be surprised if Peter maybe gets in some hot water for some of that. Zazilski backing up Holuk, so it looks like Optiminal have got 2 very, very handy drivers now at this phase of the season. Although, of course, having a bit less ballast sometimes will certainly assist both of them going forward. Oliver Hargitay was able to recover from the very back of the field up to 7th, so good recovery drive from the Hunter Birch driver. Luca Feilin held on to 8th. Peter Nuendorf started at the very front of the field before being bodied by Feilin's teammate Noah Tuomela, not once but twice. So Nuendorf doing well to recover to 9th, just ahead of Luca Gray. As Gray rounds out the top 10, here is 11th place. It's Thomas Raschke, who beats Alan Axon in the Independence Championship once more. Luke Mitchell, after a tricky first corner, could only get up to 13th in the end. Mark Horvath beats his teammate Scott Mitchell-Marm to 14th in the end. So Scott Mitchell-Marm had to stare at the back of the Minions car the entire way through. So yeah, certainly that ballast not helping Scott Mitchell-Marm's case there. Senator Spajard finishes P16 just outside the points with Francisco Perez 17th. Noah Toyamela, after an incredibly messy race by his standards, finishes 18th. Then it's David Granville 19th. Lorenzo Terovich rounds out the order in the third of our Dalmas. So that is all your action. Sadly, we're on no time for a third race of the season, but of course we've got a third race of the meeting, I should say. Third race of the season was Brands Hatch Indy some time ago, back in December, but we still got 3 more rounds to go. Donington Park, Mid-Ohio, and the Salzburg Ring, of course. But we have got one driver that wants to speak to us. So before I cut to you, we can see if you've got any questions for him as well, Ryan. But let's drag in Hunter Birch's very own Luca Gray for the first time this season. So we're now joined by the man second.
Oh my!
Oh, I can hear myself. It's slightly off-putting, Luca. Sorry.
Sorry.
You can tell we don't interview Luca too often because he's usually not.
Yeah, no, it's my headset that you got from. It's got an echo.
We need to get those noise cancelling headphones. Clearly under Birch on a budget here, but anyway, Luca Gray, of course, was third on the grid, I believe, ahead of race 1, and then second after a very, very hectic battle with not only Luke Mitchell but James Knox as well. And then you still, after being spun around almost at the first corner in race 2, still are able to recover up to 10th after some good teamwork with the sister Hunter Birch of Oliver Hargitay there, just to not hold each other up. But Luca, of course, we had a discussion about whether you should be in the point scoring car, take those 75 kilograms of ballast, or have a glory run on no ballast. And I think in the end, staying in the 56, which was the number you picked at the beginning of the season, in all fairness, was proved to be the right decision today.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to finish a race first of all this season. I think
I'm relieved too.
I think that's the first round where I finished every race. I'm pretty
there were
sure.
only 2 this time, thanks to the snow sort of saved you.
Yeah. But yeah, race 1 was fun. On that when who was it? Was it Luke or Scott?
Yeah, Luke was the lead of the 2 Kings cars.
Ah, yes, it was. So when Luke spun me around at the last corner, I saw he was bumping me into there the few laps before, and I was trying to close the gap, but it was just too late when he spun me. But it's all good. It's just touring car racing. But
yeah, he wasn't quite enough alongside to be entitled to space, in my opinion, because it was a very late move. But I'm going to be a bit biased. I'm sure Ryan and will feel differently. maybe Luke as well. But yeah, that let James Knox through, and then of course Knox was able to back you into Luke, and the win from then on sort of slipped away, even though you were able to clear Knox in the end.
Yeah, I tried letting Luke through to then have a go at him, but then of course, knowing my luck, he makes a mistake the next corner.
He just went wide over you through. So
yeah. Still P2 though, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, certainly. No points in the team's championship, but certainly great for you from the driver's point of view because we really need to get your season going. So that was
Yeah.
a big relief. And then race 2, chaos at the first corner. You were in battles every which way you look, but of course, after that safety car, you had I think Oliver Hargitay, who gained like from the very back of the grid and been taken out of the first corner. He gained like 5 or 6 positions, was right behind you all of a sudden. And was he in chat
Yeah.
asking to be with you, asking to be let through? And was that a long decision, or did you think, well, I've not got the ballast here, we're both on the mediums, let's let him through and see what he can do?
Well, I didn't purposely let him through because I on the restart, kind of turn 1, put the brakes on, both front tires locked up, and he went straight through. So it wasn't really much of a
Okay,
discussion.
well, that decided it for you then.
Yeah, he was a bit quicker anyway, so it was probably the good thing that happened.
Yeah, and I think in the end, 10th position. So I think you were in that fight with it. It was Feilin and poor Peter Neuendorf, who kept being bodied by Feilin, I think, twice in that race. So after starting from pole, so you had a little bit of luck there, but yeah, and I think it was Schumann was fighting his way through. There was a couple of other drivers as well. I haven't got the results sheet in front of me because it's gone from the time screen. So I'm trying to remember who finished where in that race now. But
Yeah, it was an interesting race. Let's say that.
Ryan,
do you have any questions for Luca before we let him go?
No, I'm just quite surprised how laid back he seems by Mitchell pretty much taking him out in the first race. Because I wouldn't even say he was alongside at all going into to that corner. It was just a total wipeout in my eyes.
Well, I'll have to look at the replay. And I'm sure
okay, now he's thinking about filing a report.
I'm sure it will get looked at anyway, so I'll see.
Yeah, it's a shame we haven't got Luke Mitchell in here to defend himself, but from the Kings Racing perspective, but from a 100% simulation perspective, yeah, drag him. But anyway, Ryan seems to be on our side all of a sudden. I don't know why, because he's supposed to be the neutral one. But yeah, I guess us being good mates maybe prevents that. But anyway, Donington Park next. We go back to the UK, Luca. Happy hunting ground for you. You enjoy that Butcher's circuit?
Yeah, I'd say so. And if anyone would remember when we were first testing for this league, my exploits.
I do remember.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say.
Luckily, it's the short circuit, so you can't cut that corner.
Oh.
Luca Gray trying to be like Ayrton Senna, Donington in '93, set the fastest lap by driving through the pit lane at full speed.
No, what happened was we were doing the GP layout, and because my settings are so low on my old PC, for some reason the tile just wasn't there, so I could just drive through the national circuit and not get a penalty.
Oh god! Wow. Okay.
Which was quite fun.
Well, now everyone has to do that for the national circuit itself, so I guess we'll be okay then.
Unless they decide to add a Joker lap, and you got to do the Melbourne Loop as a Joker lap on that one.
That's a good idea.
I think this league is complicated enough as it is for poor Nick. So yeah, let's hope we don't get snowed in next time and we get to do all 3 races at Donington. But anyway, congratulations on the second place, Luca. It's great to see you back at your best. Because obviously I got very frustrated when you had to miss the opening round, which I know wasn't your fault. But after a couple of difficult rounds, it's great to see you back on the podium. And best of luck for Donington in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we let Luca Gray leave the cockpit then. Let's reflect then. So our 2 races won by Luke Mitchell and Kings Racing and Ballast Kiss from Simco, of course, who seem to continue that march to both championships at the present moment. Of course, we haven't had the dropped score rule added in just yet. But yeah, Ballast Kiss, I think Ryan doing everything right so far in this championship with a few rounds to go. And yeah, but certainly the other big story today was, I think, Joe Herlock and Optiminal really impressing as well with that second place in race 2.
Yeah, and had some real pace, and I think, well, if it wasn't for some great defending from Zux, and if the race was just a few laps longer, we could have found ourselves with another battle for the lead because he had the pace.
Yeah, certainly. But we had a great fight for P2, really. And between the Nuremberg and the two Simcoes was really entertaining at the start of race 2 as well. A shame that Peter Nuremberg, although he still got another 9th position, didn't he? So I think he finished 9th in both races. Him and James Knox sort of ended up having 2 very, very similar races, it must be said, and getting their best results twice in a row. So I don't think they'll be too unhappy, but certainly Peter Nuremberg knew there was more points on the table that got sort of taken away by a very overzealous Noah Tuamela, who might be in trouble with the stewards as well for good measure. But yeah, lots and lots of action as we come to expect. But that's our visit to Germany done for the season. We only got 3 more races at Donington Park in Cheshire in the United Kingdom. We got Mid-Ohio, of course, in the United States, and then the Salzburg Ring in Austria, of course, for our season finale on the 19th of February. But with no other drivers in the interview room, I think it's time to sign off. So I've been Edward Hunter. My thanks to you, Ryan Ferris, for joining me in the commentary box, to Nick Homewood for also contributing commentary and driving the safety car, our pit lane correspondent, quite literally, in and out of the pit lane before you know, and Pascal Eggett for managing the broadcast as well so beautifully, as we come to expect from the high standards of EERC British Touring Cars. So another round in the books. It's Ballast Kiss running away with this championship up front, but don't forget about Luke Mitchell, our winner in race 1, and the likes of Luca Gray and Joe Herlock also impressing with 2 runners-up spots. Thank you very much for watching our 2 races today at the Norisring. We'll see you at Donington Park in 2 weeks.